Something I wasn't expecting after filing for divorce was the financial abuse I endured. With the legal system currently, I was not able to sell our home. He was not able to financially contribute to it, and by myself, I couldn't afford our house payments and my children's childcare. So I found myself, my dinners most night was whatever the children didn't eat in their lunch boxes, because I couldn't afford any more groceries than I already had in the pantry. Sometimes I would cut off the skins of their apples or the crust of their bread, and that might be my breakfast as I was making their lunches for the day. And I could have never fathomed, if you had asked me a decade ago, that I would ever be in that situation, but here I was. When I finally made that step and asked for a divorce from my husband, I didn't expect things to escalate the way they did. He screamed at me. He told me he was going to make my life a living hell. He told me that he was going to turn my children against me and make me pay for leaving him. He threw a television. He took a lamp and shattered the lamp. And then he refused to leave the home. So he continued to live there with me and the children, making veiled threats, doing things that made me extremely uncomfortable, like taking photographs off of the walls and hiding them in my sheets and in the children's cribs of the family. I started locking my bedroom door. We had separate bedrooms, and he would go in when I was at work, go through all my things, sleep in my bed, rip up papers I had about mediation. And at one point I ended up getting a lock installed on the door that was separate because he kept doing these things. And I came home from work one day to find that the door had been bashed in. And at that point I realized I needed to get a restraining order. So I had talked to my parents about it, and my mom reminded me about Faces of Hope. So at that point, I made the decision to walk through that door of Faces of Hope. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I had nowhere to go. I had a great family support, but it's not the same thing. I needed help. Touching base with Faces of Hope first started with a phone call for one of their coordinators who I had left a message, and she called me back, and I was able to share my story with her and tell her what I needed. And she was able to connect me with several of the wonderful ladies at Faces of Hope, one of their legal representatives to help me understand what I could do to protect myself and the children, as well as one of their counselors who I was able to talk to help me work through all of the difficulties, the shame, the feeling of hopelessness that I had. And I was treated with nothing but respect and kindness. You walk in the door and everybody greets you with a smile. They offered something to eat, something to drink. I found out they even had a option to get clothes if you needed things for your family. They had a diaper bank if I needed it for my children. My youngest was only 10 months old at the time. And they were so generous, so welcoming, and you didn't feel like a failure.